Hi, scholars. Today we're going to read Cece Loves Science. And so today we're going to put on our science hat because we're scientists also. So, Cece Loves Science. During the book, I'm going to ask you questions and it's going to stop your screen. And when the screen stopped, you're going to have to put your answer in. Sometimes the question is going to ask you to type an answer, and sometimes the question is going to ask you to pick one. So, once you complete it, you'll be able to listen to the rest of the story with me. And your first question is, do you like science? Why or why not? Cece loves science. Cece loved to ask questions. Her mother said her first word was why. Her father said it was how. But her favorite question was, what if? You would make a great scientist, said Cece's teacher, Miss Curry, because science is all about asking questions. Do fish get thirsty? Cece wanted to know. They do, said Miss Curry. Do hummingbirds really hum? The sound comes from their wings, said Miss Curry. What if we all jumped at the same time? Would the earth move? Good question, said Miss Curry. I think we should investigate. My question for you is, what does investigate mean? Miss Curry told Cece and her friends about famous scientists from history, such as Caroline Herschel, Thomas Edison, George Washington Carver, and Jane Goodall. All of these scientists investigated different things, and investigate means that they looked into them. They did tests and tried to figure out things that we didn't know before. She also introduced them to many different sciences. Geology is the study of the earth, biology is the study of living things, entomology is the study of insects. Do you see how they use science words? Like insects instead of bugs? And sometimes we just think of chemistry when we think of science, which is when we make things change states of matter, like explosions and things like that. But today we are learning that science is also learning about ourselves. One day, Miss Curry told everyone to pair up for our next project. I'd like you to pick a science you are curious about and come up with a question to investigate, she said. Cece and her best friend Isaac were a team. They both loved zoology. Let's stop for a second. What do you think zoology means? I bet you know. What do you see when you go to the zoo? I bet you got it right. Did you pick animals? Zoology is the study of animals. Now they just need to think of an interesting question. Let's see. First, they brainstormed a bunch of ideas. Science is all about possibilities. Possibilities means that it's all the different things that they could do. Is a bear ticklish? Cece asked. Do we really want to find out? Said Isaac. Do pigs know when they're smelly? Cece asked. Only a pig can tell you that, Isaac said. Keep thinking, said Miss Curry. A scientist think outside the box and never, ever give up. You must be a scientist, because that sounds like you. That night at dinner, Cece was explaining the project to her parents when her dog Einstein jumped up and started eating the food right off her plate. "Einstein, down," said Cece's mother. Cece giggled. Her plate was licked clean, except for the broccoli. "Look what Einstein did," she said. "I guess neither of you like your veggies," her dad said, laughing. "Do you like your veggies?" The observation gave Cece a great idea. Einstein could be their science project. Cece called Isaac. "I've got it. Let's find out if dogs eat vegetables." "Cool," said Isaac. Cece couldn't wait to get started. Ooh, look at that science laboratory. The next day after school, Cece and Isaac headed straight to Cece's lab to work on their project. "What do we do first?" asked Isaac. "Let's observe our subject," Cece said. "What do you think observe means?" "You're right. Observe means to watch something to see what happens." Observation doggy treats guarantee 100% participation," said Cece. "Excellent data," said Isaac. "Sometimes we use data in school to help us know what we're good at or what we need help with. So they're collecting data to find out how to answer their question." Isaac and Cece watched Einstein eat. They watched Einstein drink. They even watched Einstein sleep. Sometimes science was all about waiting and waiting and waiting for something really cool to happen. From our observation, we know Einstein loves to eat kibble and doggy treats, said Cece. "Now we need to investigate our question," said Isaac. "Do dogs eat vegetables?" "I already know. Einstein doesn't like broccoli," said Cece. "I don't either. Let's test some different veggies," said Isaac. "It's experiment time," said Cece. "Finally!" Cece and Isaac tried carrots, beans, and cucumbers. Einstein turned up his nose at each of them. Each one. "What if we disguise the vegetables with bacon and ketchup?" Isaac asked. This time, Einstein was interested. He ate the bacon and licked the ketchup off the vegetables. "That means he likes bacon and ketchup," said Cece. "What if we just mix the vegetables with his kibble?" asked Isaac. "I bet he won't know the difference," said Cece. Einstein ate all his kibble, but left the vegetables in the bottom of the bowl. "Einstein might not eat vegetables, but he sure is smart," said Cece. Cece gave Einstein a treat and rubbed his ears. "Good boy," she said. She looked at Isaac and shrugged. "Now what?" "We're supposed to interpret our data," said Isaac. "What do you think interpret means?" "That's right. It means to look at it and use it to figure something out." "Einstein definitely loves to eat," said Cece. "He sure doesn't like broccoli," said Isaac. "He doesn't like any vegetables," added Cece. "Not even if we cover them in bacon and ketchup," said Isaac. "I guess Einstein is a picky eater," said Cece. I love how they take their notes. Do you see that? Interpret your data. Results. They're good note takers. That night at dinner, Cece was so disappointed she didn't even finish her dessert. Maybe I'm not a real scientist after all, she said. Our project was boring. I thought you asked a great question, her dad said. Einstein put his paws on the table and sniffed Cece's banana split. Einstein, Cece giggled. Naughty puppy. Her mother laughed and pulled Einstein away. He may not eat veggies, she said, but he sure likes bananas. That's when Cece remembered something Miss Curry always said. Scientists think outside the box. What if we create a secret recipe using bananas, she asked. Cece and Isaac rushed home after school and mixed together carrots, bananas, beans, cucumbers, and bananas in a blender. Are those still veggies? Asked Isaac. Yup, said Cece. They're just in a different form. That's part of science, too. There are 3 main states. See, before they were solids. But now, in the blender, they're kind of liquidy. So they changed forms, or in science terms, they changed states. Gross, Isaac said, wrinkling his nose. Cece poured the mixture into Einstein's bowl. How about a special smoothie? She asked, patting his head. At first, Einstein looked confused. He circled the bowl. He sniffed the bowl. Then he got down on his belly and wagged his tail. And then he slurped down the entire thing. Look, he loves it, said Isaac. In science, not all results are totally predictable. What does predictable mean? Einstein does eat vegetables when we mix them with bananas, said Cece. So let's think about what predictable means. Did they predict that he liked veggies? Was that something that they thought was going to happen? When we're working in science, we do make predictions, but the scientific way of saying it is your hypothesis. I want you to try saying hypothesis at home. And that's when Cece made the most extraordinary observation of all. Science isn't just about asking questions. Real scientists have fun finding them too. The end. I want you to go ahead in the little box and tell me what your favorite part of the story was. And I want you to tell me what kind of scientist you think you could be.